Welcome to a relaxing night. You are safe. You are warm. Listen to the gentle words. Let the English language enter your peaceful sleep. We begin now. Sweet dreams. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are calm. Your mind is open. It is ready to learn. The words are soft. You hear the sound. Listen to the story. It is easy. Sleep is good. Learning is good. The English language is simple. You do not need to think now. Rest your body. Rest your mind. Every word helps you. Every word is clear. You will know more English tomorrow. This is Emma. Emma lives high in a city apartment building. The workday is finished now. Emma is ready for quiet time. She turns on a small lamp. The light is soft and yellow. She walks slowly to the big window and looks down at the lights. The lights of the cars move slowly on the wet street below. Emma holds a warm, simple cup of herbal tea in her hands. She thinks that the quiet time of night is truly beautiful and peaceful. The air in the room is still. The outside world seems far away. She hears the distant sound of a train moving very slowly somewhere. The sound of the train is soft, like a deep hum in the dark. She notices the silence between the sounds. This silence is important. Silence is a gift after many long hours of talking and working. Emma closes her eyes for a moment and feels the quiet space. The city is vast and large, but her apartment is a small, safe place. Emma smells the lemon and honey from her very warm cup of tea. The tea is warm, and the cup feels smooth and good in her hands. She takes a small, slow sip and feels the heat go down slowly. This simple act of drinking tea is now a perfect, calm moment. She remembers a time when she felt too busy to enjoy anything. Now she knows that these small, quiet moments are the best things. Emma opens her eyes and looks at the window glass again now. The glass reflects her own calm face and the soft lamplight. The shadows in the apartment are long and soft tonight. She sees the small yellow lights in many other buildings across the street. Each light is a simple home, a quiet story waiting to be told. Emma does not know the people, but she feels a connection to them. They are also finishing their busy day, and they seek the quiet. Emma needs simple rest after a long, hard week of focused work. She wants to feel strong and ready for the coming new morning sun. She thinks about a simple walk in the park that she will take tomorrow. The park has big green trees, and the air is fresh and clean there. She hopes for more simple joy and a little more clear, free time. The future is bright, but today is simply about being quiet and restful. It is good to be here now. The present moment is calm. She will take a deep breath and forget all the small worries. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are calm. Your mind is open now. It is ready to learn English. Listen to the story again. Every word helps you quietly. Rest your body deeply. Your learning is completely effortless. Emma puts the empty cup down on the small, dark wooden table. She turns off the final lamp in her quiet apartment room now. She walks to her soft, warm bed and slowly lays her body down. The sheets are soft, and the room smells fresh and clean tonight. Her head touches the pillow, her busy mind is completely empty now. Tomorrow is a new chance. Now is the time for deep, good sleep. Rest deeply now, Emma. The quiet city waits for the sun. The new morning arrives. The sky is now light blue and soft. The sun is not yet very high, but it is beginning to shine. Emma opens her eyes slowly. She feels rested and very calm. She remembers the gentle words and the peaceful sleep she had. She stretches her arms high above her head toward the ceiling. Today will be a good day. She knows this deep inside her heart. She sits on the soft bed and looks at the window now. The city looks new and clean under the first gentle morning light. Emma gets out of the bed and puts on her soft slippers. She walks to the small kitchen to start her morning routine. The first thing she does is make a new cup of hot water. She adds a little bit of lemon and honey to the warm water. She drinks the warm water slowly and feels the energy enter her. Emma takes her time. The morning is not a race or a hurry. She puts on a bright yellow sweater to feel cozy and warm inside. She packs a small bag with her phone and a delicious apple. Emma leaves her quiet apartment and locks the simple wooden door. She walks down the many stairs very slowly, step by step. She sees her neighbor, Mr. Green. They exchange a quick smile. The street is not busy yet. The air is crisp and fresh now. Emma looks up at the blue sky. The clouds are white and fluffy. She walks toward the big park, remembering her hope from the night. The walk is simple and good. She enjoys the feeling of freedom. She crosses the wide road and sees the tall green park gate now. Emma enters the peaceful park. The grass is wet and sparkling. Many birds are singing sweetly high up in the green branches. She hears the water running gently in a small stone fountain. Emma finds a smooth wooden bench under a beautiful, large oak tree. She sits down and closes her eyes for a beautiful moment of peace. The sun feels warm and soft on her calm and rested face now. She takes a deep, comfortable breath of the cool, clean morning air. She opens her eyes and watches a small dog playing with a red ball. The dog is very happy and runs quickly across the soft grass. Emma feels the simple joy of this quiet, peaceful city park visit. She thinks about the colors, the bright red and the deep green all around. She remains seated and allows her mind to be completely quiet now. This is a perfect start to a new, calm, and wonderful day. She will stay here for a little while longer before she must go. The sun is getting higher. The morning is truly beautiful. Emma stays on the bench for a little more quiet time now. She looks at the park and says a quiet thank you in her mind. The sun is higher and warmer now. It is almost lunchtime. She stands up slowly and stretches her tired body gently again. She takes one last deep breath of the cool, fresh park air. Emma walks back toward the gate and leaves the peaceful green space. The road is a little busier now. More people are walking by. She is not rushing. She walks with a slow, easy, calm pace. Emma arrives back at her apartment building and opens the door. She takes off her yellow sweater and hangs it on the simple chair. She feels a small hunger now and decides to prepare some lunch. Emma cuts fresh, red tomatoes and some soft, yellow cheese. She makes a simple, nice sandwich and sits down to eat it slowly. The food tastes very good after her long, refreshing morning walk. She drinks a full glass of cold water to feel strong and healthy. She puts away the dishes and cleans the small kitchen table well. Emma looks at her notebook and sees the small list for tomorrow. She does not worry about the list now, she simply looks at it. She thinks about the clothes she will wear for the working days soon. It is good to be prepared. This makes the coming week easier. Emma opens her small closet door and chooses 2 simple shirts. She smiles because she has everything she needs right here now. She hears the city sounds again, but they seem quiet and distant. Emma sits on her comfortable sofa near the large window again. The afternoon light is warm and shines softly on the apartment floor. She does not need a book or her phone, she just sits and rests. She thinks about the peace she found in the park this morning. She will keep this peace with her for the rest of the long day. The sun moves slowly. The time is quiet and slow now. Emma closes her eyes for a moment of final, peaceful rest. The small clock shows 3 o'clock. The afternoon is long, calm, and perfect. She hears the gentle sound of the wind outside the large window glass. The wind is like a soft, quiet song that helps her be calm. She opens her eyes and finds a quiet spot on the comfortable sofa. She knows that tomorrow will be busy, but today is only for peace. She will take another deep breath, feeling the calm enter her body. The light inside the room begins to grow darker very slowly now. The quiet afternoon is the best time for resting and soft dreams. Rest now and let the English words be soft sounds. The afternoon light is now fading. The sun is setting behind the tall, distant buildings. Emma stays seated on the soft, comfortable sofa for many more quiet minutes. She does not need a clock now. She only needs the feeling of soft rest. The small room becomes darker very slowly. The shadows grow longer and softer on the polished wooden floor. Emma thinks about all the colors she saw in the beautiful park this morning. The deep green of the grass and the white of the small clouds were perfect. She feels gratitude for this simple, peaceful day of rest and quiet time. She gets up slowly and walks to her small kitchen area again. She does not want bright lights. She turns on the small, warm light above the clean stove. Emma decides to make a very simple, warm evening meal for herself. She takes a few fresh, green vegetables and some white rice from the cupboard. She cuts the vegetables into small pieces very slowly and carefully. The sound of the cutting is soft, like a quiet rhythm in the evening air. She boils the water and adds the rice to the pot on the stove. While the rice is cooking, she watches the water bubble and turn. This simple cooking process is a form of peaceful meditation for her. Emma sits down at her small table and eats the warm rice and fresh vegetables. She chews her food slowly, focusing only on the taste and the warmth. She drinks a full, large glass of water. The taste of the water is clean and refreshing in her mouth. She feels the quiet energy of the good food entering her rested body now. After the meal, she cleans her plate and fork immediately and puts them back in the clean cabinet. The kitchen is now clean. The apartment is ready for the long, quiet night ahead. Emma walks back to the big window. The city outside is now fully dark. The lights of the buildings are shining brightly, like thousands of tiny stars. She sees the distant planes moving slowly across the dark, vast, upper sky. She feels small and connected to the huge world outside her small apartment. The noise of the city is now a deep, low, comforting hum far away. She does not think about work. She does not worry about the past. Her mind is clear. She thinks about the important things, rest, silence, and the peaceful feeling in her heart. She takes off her simple clothes and puts on soft, very warm, loose pajamas. Emma goes into the bathroom and washes her face with cool, clean water. She looks at herself in the mirror. Her eyes are calm. Her face is peaceful. She brushes her teeth very slowly, enjoying the quiet feeling of simple action. She turns off the small bathroom light. Emma walks to the soft, warm bed now. She opens the window just a very small bit to let in cool air. She climbs under the large, heavy blanket. The blanket feels warm and protective around her tired body. She lies on her back and closes her eyes. She hears the soft, quiet sound of the wind outside the small window opening. The wind sings a final, soft lullaby for her quiet mind. She will sleep deeply now. The calmness stays with her. She is ready for the deepest sleep. Good night now. The learning continues in your peaceful dreams. The blanket is heavy now. Emma sleeps very deeply in her warm, dark bed. The world outside is gone. Only the gentle silence remains in the small apartment. Her mind is quiet, like a very calm, deep lake. Emma feels light. She feels safe. She is floating slowly on a soft, invisible stream. She begins to dream. The dream is not a story with action. The dream is a collection of peaceful, soft images. She sees a blue river. The water moves very slowly and makes no sound at all. She looks at the tall, strong trees growing on the banks of the silent river. The trees are bright green and stand perfectly still in the warm air. Emma walks on the soft grass near the river. Her feet are light. She makes no sound when she walks forward. She sees a simple, white stone. The stone is smooth and very round. She picks up the white stone and holds it gently in her open hand. The stone feels cool and good. It reminds her of the small moments of peace from the long day before. She places the stone back on the ground and smiles softly in her deep sleep. Emma looks up at the sky. The sky is a gentle purple color now. She sees many small, bright stars shining brightly in the vast, deep purple space. The stars are very far away, but their light is strong and clear. She hears a quiet, gentle ringing sound, like a small, clear bell. The sound helps her to breathe deeply and easily in her very peaceful dream. She finds a comfortable, soft patch of moss under one of the largest trees. She lies down on the soft, green moss and feels the quiet earth below her. The earth is warm. The earth is safe. She feels the energy of the big, quiet trees around her resting body. She closes her dream eyes and listens to the endless, gentle silence. The river moves slowly. The stars shine quietly. Emma is a part of this peace. This calm feeling is her truest home now. She will stay here in this wonderful, quiet dream until the first sign of the early morning sun. She is not alone. The stars and the trees are her friends in this peaceful place. Her mind is absorbing the English words easily while she rests deeply. The language is simple. The sleep is deep. The dream is quiet and beautiful. She knows that she is safe. She will wake up with new energy and very clear thoughts. Rest now, Emma. The quiet dream is protecting your good sleep. The soft sounds of the silence are guiding your rest. The deep sleep is now ending. The night is finished, and the earliest morning light arrives. The first light is soft gray. It comes slowly through the small window opening. Emma feels the change in the air. The dream is slowly moving away from her resting mind. She senses the cool, fresh air touch her face very gently. She hears a different sound now, the soft, quiet chirping of a small bird. The sound is high and light, a clear signal of the new day. Emma moves her fingers and toes very slightly under the warm blanket. She remembers the gentle peace of her long, deep night of rest. Emma does not open her eyes immediately. She enjoys the feeling of this long, slow return to the world. She listens to the quiet rhythm of her own slow, deep breathing. Her body is heavy, but her mind is light, clear, and empty. She thinks about the blue river and the tall, silent trees from her peaceful dream. The light is getting stronger now. The gray outside is turning to a soft, warm, pale yellow. Emma smells the clean scent of the pillow and the fresh cotton sheets all around her. She knows that the world is waiting, but it can wait for a few more perfect, quiet minutes. She makes a simple promise to herself in the early, calm morning silence. She will keep the quiet peace of the night with her today. She will move slowly. She will speak softly. She will notice the small, good things that the new day will bring to her. The sun is almost visible now, ready to greet the big city. Emma takes one final, very deep, grateful breath of the cool morning air. She opens her eyes slowly. The room is bright now. She sees the gentle yellow light shining clearly on the wooden floor again. She smiles a small, quiet, happy smile. She sits up slowly in the bed. The world is fresh. The day is new. She feels strong. She feels ready. The rest was complete. The learning continues. The English words are part of her quiet, rested mind now. She looks at the window. The new morning is here. It is time to begin. The yellow light is now bright. Emma is fully awake and feels a fresh, new strength. She sits on the edge of the bed. Her feet touch the cool, wooden floor gently. She stands up slowly and stretches her whole body up high. She walks to the big window again to see the busy city below. The city is now alive. Many cars are moving and people are walking quickly to work. Emma does not feel the rush. She will move with her own slow, peaceful rhythm today. She goes to the kitchen and opens the window to let in more fresh morning air. She makes a second cup of warm water with lemon and honey again. She drinks the warm liquid slowly, standing and looking at the clear sky. She feels gratitude for the quiet learning and the deep sleep she found. Emma chooses simple, clean clothes for the busy day ahead. She dresses herself with quiet focus. She smiles because the clothes are soft and comfortable. She combs her hair gently, feeling the softness of the brush on her head. She looks in the mirror and sees her calm, rested face looking back. She takes her keys and her bag. The bag is light. She only takes what she really needs for the morning. She says a quiet
goodbye
to her peaceful apartment room. She remembers that the peace is inside her, not just in the quiet room. Emma walks out the door and closes it quietly behind her. She walks down the stairs slowly, step by step. She feels the strength in her legs. She feels the calm in her mind. She sees her neighbors, and she gives them a sincere, easy smile. The air outside is cool and pleasant. The noise of the city cannot touch her inner peace today. She thinks about the English words she heard while she was sleeping. The words are now soft thoughts in her mind. The learning was effortless. The rest was deep. She is ready to begin her new day, keeping the quiet city inside her always. She walks toward the new day. The new start is filled with peace. Mr. Westley is 70 years old. He lives in a small, white house. The house has a very nice, big garden. He wants to see the world now. He needs a big, new adventure in his life. He decides that he will travel to many different countries. He sells the small, white house to a happy young family. He gives away almost all his old, unnecessary things quickly. He buys one large, strong, green suitcase for his clothes. He checks his passport. The passport is new and ready for the first trip. He feels a little bit nervous, but he is mostly happy now. He locks the front door for the very last time today. He looks at the tall oak tree growing in his beautiful garden. He remembers many long, wonderful years spent with his dear family here. He says a quiet
goodbye
to his comfortable, old life and memories. He puts his green suitcase down on the sidewalk made of smooth stone. He sees a friendly, yellow taxi coming slowly down the quiet, sunny street. The taxi stops right in front of his small, waiting body. Mr. Westley opens the back door of the old, yellow taxi car. He puts his heavy green suitcase carefully inside the empty trunk. He sits down on the back seat. The seat is soft. He closes his blue eyes for a moment of final, peaceful thought. He tells the kind driver that he must go to the very big airport. The driver smiles gently at him and then starts the engine. The engine makes a slow, steady, quiet rumbling sound now. The taxi drives away from the small, white house forever. Mr. Westley watches the familiar street lights quickly fade away behind the car. He sees many people walking their dogs and riding their simple bicycles. He thinks about all the new, strange places he will visit soon enough. He is excited. He is also completely calm and peaceful. He takes a deep, slow breath and looks at the vast, clear blue sky. The taxi enters the big highway road where many cars move very fast. The sound of the wind outside the car window is suddenly loud and constant. He remembers his dream. He wants to walk on a very, very quiet beach soon. He wants to eat sweet, fresh fish and drink local, refreshing coconut water there. He will write many letters to his family and friends about everything. He sees the tall metal towers of the huge airport building appearing in the distance now. The airport is large. It is a place for new beginnings and difficult goodbyes. The taxi slows down and stops at the crowded entrance to the airport now. Mr. Westley pays the driver with a smile and takes his green suitcase out. He says a quick thank you to the kind driver and walks through the wide, automatic doors. The air inside the large airport is cool and a little bit dry. The adventure has truly begun. He feels the energy of the many people walking quickly around him. Mr. Westley walks through the big automatic doors of the busy airport now. He finds the correct counter for his plane and the long flight. He waits patiently in a line with his heavy green suitcase. He gives his new passport and his paper ticket to a nice woman. The woman smiles at him and checks all his travel information carefully. She gives him a small, white boarding pass for the journey ahead now. He then finds the long security checkpoint before he can go further inside. He puts his brown shoes and his small black belt in a plastic box. He places the green suitcase onto the moving belt for a quick check. The machine makes a loud, steady beeping sound as it scans everything. He walks slowly through the metal detector arch. The security guard nods to him, showing that everything is perfectly fine. He takes his shoes and his belt back from the small plastic box quickly. He looks at his boarding pass to find his correct gate number now. The gate is very far away. He starts to walk down the long, quiet hallway very slowly. He sees many shops selling chocolate and beautiful, bright, colorful flowers. He does not stop. He continues walking toward his correct gate number now. He buys one small bottle of clean water and a simple, sweet apple. He finds his gate. He sits down on a hard, gray plastic chair next to the large window. He watches the huge airplanes move slowly and loudly across the wet runway. The loudspeaker announces his flight is ready for people to begin boarding now. Mr. Westley stands up slowly and walks through the final small door. He walks out onto the ramp that leads him directly to the plane. He enters the long, narrow airplane. The air inside is cool. He finds his correct seat, number 43, next to the small window. He puts his small bag up in the space above his head carefully. He sits down and looks out the small, round window glass now. The airplane starts moving slowly away from the busy gate. The lights inside the cabin are now dimmed for the takeoff procedure. The engine noise grows louder, becoming a constant, strong, low sound. The plane runs very quickly down the long runway now. Up they go. The plane lifts off the ground easily and quickly enters the vast sky. Mr. Westley looks down at the city. The buildings look like small, white toys from far away. The clouds are white and soft, like a very big blanket under them now. He eats his simple, sweet apple and drinks his clean, cool water slowly. He is flying above the world now. He feels peaceful. He thinks about the warm country where the plane is going to land soon. He closes his tired eyes for a small rest during the long, quiet flight. He will be there in the bright morning. The journey is long, but his mind is calm and ready for everything new. The long flight is over. The plane lands smoothly on the warm, new runway. Mr. Westley opens his eyes and smiles slightly at the bright, new day. He looks out the window. The palm trees are very tall and very green here. He gets his green suitcase and walks slowly out of the airplane now. The air outside is instantly hot, humid, and very tropical. He smells the salt of the ocean and the sweet scent of nearby flowers. He removes his heavy sweater and puts it inside his large bag quickly. He walks through the airport terminal building to the passport control area. He waits patiently in a shorter line with his passport ready in his hand. The kind border agent welcomes him to this beautiful, sunny country now. Mr. Westley says a small thank you and walks to the baggage claim quickly. He sees his large, green suitcase moving slowly on the long, black belt. He takes his bag. The bag is heavy, but he carries it easily and well. He needs a quick taxi to go to his small, rented hotel now. He finds a friendly driver with a small, old, blue car waiting. He tells the driver the name of the quiet hotel near the beautiful beach. The driver speaks a different language, but the hotel name is understood clearly. The car begins to drive away from the large airport area easily. The roads are narrow and very colorful with many small shops. He sees many people smiling and riding their small motorbikes quickly. The car stops at the entrance to a simple, nice hotel. The hotel is painted a bright, sunny, happy yellow color. Mr. Westley thanks the driver and pays him the correct amount of local money. He takes his suitcase and walks inside the quiet hotel lobby area now. A woman at the front desk gives him a small metal key immediately. His room is on the second floor. He walks up the wide stairs and finds his simple, clean room easily. He opens the window. The noise of the city is suddenly far away and very small. He hears the soft, constant sound of the blue ocean waves crashing gently. He sees the wide, sandy beach and the hundreds of colorful boats nearby. He puts his green suitcase down on the floor and does not unpack his clothes now. He goes out onto the small, quiet balcony immediately. He takes a deep, long breath of the clean ocean air now. The smell of the salt is strong and good. He thinks about his quiet dream from the long airplane flight. He feels that this place is absolutely perfect for his next adventure. He will rest here for a few days before he begins to explore. He closes his blue eyes and listens only to the sea. Mr. Westley wakes up slowly in his hotel room. The sun is bright and warm outside his window now. He remembers the long night of deep, peaceful sleep. He feels fresh energy in his whole body this morning. He stands up and looks out at the big, blue ocean. The water is clear. It looks inviting and very calm. He decides to walk to the beach and explore the area. He puts on light clothes and his comfortable walking shoes. He takes a simple, small notebook and a good pen with him. He leaves the hotel room and slowly walks down the stairs. He greets the kind woman at the front desk with a smile. He steps outside the yellow hotel and feels the warm air. The street is already busy with people beginning their day. He walks toward the sand and the sound of the ocean waves. He reaches the beach. The sand is soft and very warm under his feet. He sees many tall palm trees casting long, gentle shadows nearby. He walks right next to the water where the sand is cool and wet. The ocean water is a beautiful, light turquoise color today. He notices small, white seashells scattered all along the wide shore. He bends down and carefully picks up a perfect, round shell. He puts the smooth, small shell inside his simple pocket now. He sees a small, colorful wooden boat floating peacefully far away. A friendly fisherman is working quietly near his small fishing net. Mr. Wesley smiles at the man and gives a simple morning greeting. The fisherman waves back and smiles widely at the traveling man. He continues walking, enjoying the feel of the soft sand between his toes. He walks for a very long time, feeling happy and completely peaceful. He suddenly smells something sweet and delicious cooking nearby. He sees a small market stall selling fresh, local tropical fruit. The fruit is bright red, yellow, and deep, beautiful orange. He decides to stop and buy a sweet, refreshing breakfast now. He points at a large, ripe yellow banana and a small, round pineapple. He hands the nice woman a small, correct amount of local money. The kind woman peels the banana for him immediately with her hand. Mr. Wesley says thank you and slowly begins to eat the fruit. The banana tastes much sweeter than the ones he ate at home. He sits down on a small wooden stool near the colorful market stall. He watches the quiet morning life of the small island town slowly. He uses his pen and notebook to write down his happy observations now. He writes about the warm ocean water and the tall, green palm trees. He writes about the delicious, sweet, amazing taste of the yellow banana. He feels happy because his new adventure has started perfectly. He knows that this beautiful, calm feeling is his true reason for traveling. He finishes his simple breakfast and closes his notebook gently. He thanks the woman for the sweet fruit and walks away slowly now. He will explore the main village street before returning to his hotel room. The sun is getting hotter now, so he seeks the cool shadow of the buildings. He sees children playing loudly near a small, ancient stone fountain. He hears the quick, happy sound of music coming from a distant house. He notices the houses are painted in many bright colors, blue, red, and pink. He passes a small, busy shop selling shiny, simple handmade jewelry. He buys a small, blue-painted wooden bird as a gift for his family. He puts the small bird carefully inside the safe pocket of his shirt. He is very pleased with his peaceful morning and his simple discoveries. He remembers that he must send a simple postcard to his sister soon. He looks for a small post office but decides to do it later in the quiet afternoon. He starts walking back toward the quiet, sandy beach and the calm sea. He finds his way back easily because the yellow hotel is very tall. He decides to drink one glass of water before going up the stairs. He enters the cool lobby and greets the nice woman at the desk again. He climbs the stairs slowly, feeling the good, gentle tiredness in his legs. He opens the door to his room and steps into the cool, silent space. He puts the pineapple on the table to eat later in the afternoon sun. He sits by the open balcony and looks out at the vast ocean once more. The blue water stretches out endlessly toward the far, distant horizon line. He is thinking about the beautiful colors of the simple, joyful island life. He feels that his new journey is exactly what he needed for a fresh start. He will rest now before his afternoon plan of swimming in the warm water. Mr. Westley sleeps for a short time after his walk. He wakes up refreshed. The tropical sun is now high above the wide ocean. He feels a small hunger and remembers the delicious pineapple. He cuts the ripe pineapple into small, bright yellow pieces easily. He eats the sweet fruit slowly, enjoying the cool, tropical juice. He drinks 2 cups of clean, cold water to feel hydrated and strong. He is now ready for his afternoon activity and the blue sea. He puts on his swimming shorts and takes a simple, large, white towel. He walks down the wide stairs and out of the yellow hotel again. The beach is less crowded now. Many people are resting in the cool shadows. He finds a smooth spot on the warm sand and lays his white towel down. He removes his simple shoes and walks toward the clear, shining water slowly. The sand near the water is soft and cool under his bare, warm feet. He steps into the ocean. The water is instantly warm, like a pleasant, light bath. He walks forward slowly, letting the water reach his knees and then his hips. The salt water feels good and soft against his skin. He takes a deep breath and pushes himself forward into the deeper water. He begins to swim with a smooth, slow, regular movement easily. He remembers swimming often in the cold lake near his old house. This tropical water is much warmer and completely different. He floats on his back for a long, quiet, peaceful moment now. He looks up at the vast, clear blue sky above his head. He sees small, white, fluffy clouds moving very slowly across the high, deep blue. He hears the soft, steady sound of the gentle waves surrounding him completely. He feels the sun on his face and the warm water supporting his body. He is perfectly relaxed. He thinks about nothing. His mind is as clear as the ocean water around him. He swims a short distance back toward the wide, sunny shore now. He stands up in the shallow water and walks back to his warm, dry, white towel. He lies down on the soft towel, feeling the strong sun dry the water quickly from his skin. The sound of the waves is a steady, peaceful rhythm for his rest now. He closes his blue eyes and lets his mind drift into a light, pleasant, slow afternoon sleep. He is thankful for the ocean and for the simple joy of the beautiful, warm water. He will stay here on the sand until the sun starts to go down slowly. The afternoon is quiet. The island is still. He is safe. He is resting. Mr. Wesley wakes slowly from his light, comfortable afternoon sleep now. He stands up and shakes the warm sand quickly from his soft towel. The sun is beginning to set. The sky is turning bright orange and deep pink. He walks back toward the yellow hotel as the air starts to cool down slightly. He sees the palm trees casting very long, dark, sharp shadows on the wet sand. He feels a wonderful, quiet calmness after his swim in the warm ocean water. He enters his hotel room and takes a long, warm, pleasant shower quickly. He washes the salt and the sand away from his refreshed, rested body. He puts on clean, simple clothes for his evening walk and dinner. He decides to walk to the main village street to find a small cafe. He wants to try the local food that the island offers proudly. He leaves the hotel and walks along the beach path as the sun disappears slowly. The sky is absolutely beautiful now, filled with deep, fiery, strong colors. He finds a small, simple cafe with 3 or 4 blue wooden tables outside. He chooses a table near the beach path to watch the people passing by quickly. A friendly young woman comes to his table and hands him a small menu. He looks at the simple pictures on the menu and points to a fresh fish dish. He also orders a glass of cold, sweet, local orange juice immediately. He waits patiently for his dinner to arrive, enjoying the evening air now. He sees the small, bright fishing boats slowly returning to the quiet, dark harbor. He hears the quick, happy sound of children playing a fun game nearby. The woman brings his plate filled with white rice and a large piece of cooked fish. The fish smells fresh and delicious. He thanks the kind woman and begins to eat his simple evening meal slowly. The fish tastes perfect. The rice is soft. The orange juice is sweet and very cold. He thinks about his old life and the many, complex, difficult things. Now his life is simple. His worries are small. His happiness is large and clear. He finishes his simple meal and leaves a small amount of extra money for the kind woman. He stands up slowly and walks back toward the yellow hotel on the sandy path. The moon is now visible, hanging like a huge, gentle, soft light in the dark sky. The stars are appearing, shining brightly above the quiet ocean water. He feels the energy of the whole day slowly leaving his tired, rested body. He knows that tomorrow will bring more simple, new discoveries and peaceful moments. He enters his room and opens the large balcony door to let in the sea air. He lies down on the comfortable bed, ready for another night of deep, easy sleep. Mr. Wesley sleeps well and wakes up very early with the first light. He wants to see more than just the beautiful beaches of the island. He decides to go on a small bus trip to the Central Mountains today. He packs a small bag with clean water and a delicious sandwich. He puts on his strong walking shoes and his light brown hat. He leaves the yellow hotel and walks toward the village square slowly. He finds the small, local bus ready to leave for the higher hills now. He buys a small paper ticket from the kind bus driver very quickly. He sits down on the front seat to see the road clearly ahead of him. The bus begins to move slowly, leaving the quiet coastal area behind now. The road becomes narrow and starts going up sharply into the green hills. He looks out the window and sees many terraces for growing fresh vegetables. The air is instantly cooler now. The smell of the ocean is gone, replaced by the scent of fresh pine. The bus stops at a small village. The village is hidden deep between the huge, green mountains. Mr. Westley gets out of the bus and smiles. The silence here is much deeper than the quiet by the sea. He hears the sound of water running down a rock face in the distance. He sees many tall, dark trees covering the steep slopes of the mountains now. He starts to walk up a small dirt path to reach a higher viewpoint. He walks slowly. The sun is warm, but the cool wind is gentle on his face. He sees many small, colorful birds flying quickly between the high branches. He remembers walking in the woods near his old house long ago. This mountain air is cleaner and much lighter than the air in the city. He reaches the top of the path. The view is vast and absolutely incredible from this spot. He sees the entire island, from the green mountains to the distant, shining blue sea. The beach and the yellow hotel look like small toys from this great height. He sits down on a flat, warm rock and takes out his simple sandwich quickly. He eats slowly, enjoying the amazing view and the peaceful solitude now. He feels powerful. He feels small. He feels completely connected to the quiet earth. He writes 2 pages in his small notebook about the incredible, deep silence here. He closes his blue eyes for a moment to memorize the feeling of the mountain. He knows that this moment of high, clear air is a beautiful, simple gift to his soul. He will carry this feeling with him when he returns to the busy coast soon. He stands up and smiles, feeling ready for his slow walk down the winding mountain path now. Mr. Westley takes the long bus ride down from the cool, high mountain area. He arrives back in the warm, busy village square near the blue ocean. He sees a small, old, stone temple he had not noticed before now. The temple is quiet and looks very old. He wants to visit the sacred building to feel the deep history. Before he walks to the temple, he stops to buy a sweet, cold drink. He stands near a fruit stand where a kind woman is selling fresh juice. She has white hair and very gentle, wise, dark eyes. Mr. Westley smiles at her and asks for a cup of sweet mango juice. The woman hands him the cup and speaks a few words in simple English. She tells him about the old temple and its long, peaceful history here. He thanks her for the good information and the delicious juice warmly. He feels a connection to her simple, calm way of living now. He walks slowly to the old, quiet temple entrance. The stone walls are covered with green, delicate moss. He steps inside the cool shadow of the small temple building. The air inside is still and smells like old wood and dried, clean flowers. He sees many small, beautiful statues standing high on the quiet walls. He notices the soft, gentle light coming from the one small window up high. The floor is smooth. The smooth stone is worn down by the feet of many people long ago. He sits down on a low wooden bench to rest his tired legs quietly. He thinks about all the years this place has stood here in silent peace. The history of the island is deep. The people have lived and prayed here for a very long time. He feels respect for the past and for the simple faith of the kind island people. He closes his blue eyes and sits in the deep silence for a full, quiet, peaceful minute. He remembers the feeling of the high mountains and the stillness of the old temple now. He knows that the island has two faces, the bright sea and the deep, historical heart. He stands up slowly and walks back toward the simple exit door. He leaves a small amount of money to help keep the quiet temple clean and beautiful. He steps back out into the bright, warm, open afternoon sun again. He walks back to the beach path and to his yellow hotel, feeling complete and calm. Mr. Westley returns to his yellow hotel room as the sun begins to set. He feels a gentle sadness because tomorrow he must leave this quiet place. He decides to spend his last evening packing his green suitcase slowly and well. He takes his swimming shorts and his white towel from the small balcony railing. He folds his light clothes very neatly and places them inside the suitcase. He puts the round white seashell and the small blue wooden bird safely inside. He sits down on the bed and looks at the small travel map in his hand. He needs to choose his next destination for the continuing adventure. He looks at the map. He sees a large, busy, northern city with many tall buildings. He sees a quiet, cold, distant mountain village surrounded by snow. He closes his blue eyes and remembers the peace he felt on the quiet island. He decides he still wants more peace and simple beauty now. He points at a small country in the far south that has many beautiful ancient forests. The country looks very different from the warm, sunny, tropical island. He thinks about the cool air and the quiet, dense green trees waiting for him. He writes down the new country's name in his small notebook with a steady hand. He knows that this new place will teach him many new and different simple lessons. He finishes packing. The green suitcase is ready for the next flight early tomorrow morning. He goes out to the balcony to see the final beautiful sunset over the wide sea. The sky is a deep, fading purple color, reflecting on the calm ocean water below. He thinks about the kind woman selling fruit and the deep silence in the old, stone temple. He learned that happiness is found in small, simple, quiet, daily moments. He eats a small, quick meal in his room. He drinks a simple cup of warm tea and then cleans his used dishes. He turns off the final light in the small room. He lies down on the bed, feeling the gentle tiredness from his full day of peaceful activity. He remembers the gentle, warm touch of the beautiful ocean water on his skin. He will take the memories of this wonderful island with him to the new, distant place. He is ready for the next chapter. He sleeps deeply and peacefully now. Mr. Westley wakes up very early and leaves the yellow hotel quickly. He takes a short taxi ride back to the busy island airport now. He says a silent
goodbye
to the warm, blue ocean and the tall palm trees. He checks his green suitcase and finds his seat on the new airplane easily. The plane flies high above the clouds for many long, quiet hours. He sleeps well and wakes up when the plane begins its slow descent. He looks out the window. The landscape is completely new, different, and surprising. The sun is weak. The ground is covered with many dark, dense green trees. The air is cool. The air smells strongly of fresh pine needles and wet earth. He knows he has arrived at his new, quiet destination finally. He walks through the small airport and shows his passport to the polite officer. He takes his green suitcase and finds a car service to take him to his cabin. He rented a small, wooden cabin deep inside the huge, quiet forest. The driver is a silent man. The car drives along a long, winding, narrow road now. The trees are very tall and stand close together, making the road dark. The forest is silent. The silence is much deeper than the quiet of the temple. The car stops at a simple, wooden cabin next to a calm, deep lake. Mr. Wesley thanks the driver and steps out into the cool, still forest air. He sees the dark blue water of the lake. The water is perfectly smooth and very still. He opens the heavy wooden door to his small, temporary, forest home now. The cabin smells like old wood and a warm, gentle fire smoke. He puts his green suitcase on the floor and walks to the small window immediately. He looks at the tall, quiet trees that surround his simple wooden home now. He thinks about the warm, salty ocean water and the cool, fresh mountain air he loved. He realizes that peace is not a place. Peace is always inside his rested heart and mind. He takes a deep breath of the cool, clean forest air. He knows that this new place will bring new lessons and quiet feelings. He will explore the deep forest and walk along the edge of the dark, silent lake tomorrow. He lights a small fire in the stone fireplace to make the simple cabin warm and cozy tonight. He sits down in a wooden chair and watches the bright, orange fire slowly burn. The adventure continues. The journey is long. The world is big. His spirit is calm. Alice is a young, dedicated mapmaker. She works with maps every day in a quiet, big city office. She loves the straight lines and the precise, careful numbers. She often dreams of drawing real coastlines and wild, empty places. Her boss gives her a very new, important, secret project now. The project is to map the changes near a very old, distant lighthouse. The coast there is shifting. The ocean is constantly moving the soft land. Alice feels excitement. She also feels a small sense of fear about the journey. She has only 3 days to prepare for this long, isolated trip. She checks her tools. Her tools are all new and highly accurate instruments. She packs many clean sheets of thick, smooth paper into a strong tube. She chooses warm, heavy clothes for the cold, windy weather near the sea. She buys large, tall, black rubber boots for walking on the wet, slippery rocks. She packs a small, simple camera to take many pictures of the strange, new land. She looks at the photograph of the old, tall lighthouse. The lighthouse stands alone on a jagged, black, steep cliff face. She says
Goodbye
to her family and her 2 closest, dearest friends quickly. She promises to send them many long letters from the isolated, distant station. She takes a short taxi ride down to the busy, crowded shipping harbor now. The air near the harbor smells strongly of old fish and deep, salty sea water. She sees a small, sturdy cargo ship waiting patiently to carry her across the wide sea. The ship is named the Quiet Explorer and looks strong and ready for the waves. She walks up the metal ramp and greets the silent, kind captain of the ship. The captain shows her a small, clean, simple cabin far below the main deck. She puts her large bags and her map tube carefully on the low, wooden floor. She walks back up onto the deck to see the city disappear slowly behind her now. The captain starts the engine. The engine makes a low, constant, powerful, loud sound. The ship pulls away from the busy, safe harbor and moves out into the open sea. The waves are small at first, gently rocking the strong ship from side to side. The city quickly becomes smaller and then vanishes completely into the thick morning fog. Alice is now alone. She feels the great freedom of the ocean all around her body. She thinks about the large, white paper sheets waiting for her careful, accurate drawings. The map she will create will be her best, most important, and final work. The captain stands quietly at the ship's wheel, steering the ship easily and well. Alice sees many seabirds following the ship, making small, sharp, short cries. The sky is gray and low. The air is cold and very fresh. She watches the vast sea for a long time, feeling the deep, constant movement of the world. She will rest now. The quiet journey is long. The new coast is waiting for her simple, careful hand. Alice went down the steep, narrow, metal stairway slowly. Her small, clean cabin was very quiet and completely empty now. She placed her strong bags carefully under the simple, low bunk. The light in the cabin was dim. It was very slightly yellow and very soft. The ship was already moving through huge, dark, nighttime waves quickly. Alice felt the slight, constant, gentle rocking of the sturdy ship. This sound of the engine became her new, calm, nighttime companion immediately. She lay down on the hard, but clean, narrow bunk to finally rest and sleep. The cabin smelled of old, seawood and distant, fresh, salty sea water. The girl closed her green eyes to begin a deep, very important rest now. The movement of the ship rocked her very fast and very softly to sleep. Thoughts of the complex, future work left her clear, ready mind. She thought about the high, dark, cold, rocky cliffs of the coast. The new map awaited her hand and her precise, careful measurements soon. The night on the open sea was very long, deep, and completely peaceful. Alice slept soundly for many calm, long hours without any dreams. In the morning she was awakened by the loud, sharp, high cry of a single seagull. The sun was up, and light began to enter the small cabin window now. She quickly dressed in her warm, blue, comfortable working clothes quickly. Alice went up onto the upper, cold, open deck of the ship slowly. The morning was fresh. The wind was blowing very strongly and very constantly now. The sea stretched out in all directions, very big, deep, and purely blue. No land was visible on the wide, distant, lonely horizon line. She saw the captain. He stood at the large, heavy wheel of the sturdy ship. The captain smiled at her. He wished her a good, peaceful, new morning instantly. Alice asked about how long they still would be traveling on the water. The captain said that the voyage would take one more, final day of sailing. They were sailing very slowly because the waves were large and very strong today. She thanked him for the simple, necessary information about the weather and sea. The girl went to the small, common, warm dining room of the ship. There she found hot, strong tea and fresh, simple, white sliced bread. She ate her breakfast slowly, looking out through the round, thick glass window. The waves rose high, creating white, salty, constant foam on the water. The breakfast was simple, but very filling and very delicious to eat. She felt healthy and completely full of fresh, new, ready energy. Alice returned to the cold deck to look far away toward the horizon again. The sky was clear and blue, without a single small white cloud visible. The sun shone brightly, but the air remained cool and very fresh outside. She put on her warm, thick, black wool gloves for protection. The sea was very alive, changing its color every minute constantly below her. Sometimes she saw large, dark, fast dolphins playing in the wide ocean. The dolphins swam quickly right next to the tall, strong, large ship easily. This was such a beautiful, rare, natural, unforgettable sight for her. She thought about her empty, large, new, clean notebook immediately. She needed to write down all these amazing, calming, sea observations quickly. She took out her notebook and began to make her first, important, simple notes. The waves seemed like enormous blue mountains surrounding the small, waiting vessel. Each strong wave was unique and completely beautiful in its movement and form. Alice wrote about the power of the sea and the quiet calm of the wise captain. She also wrote down her feelings about the deep isolation and the total silence. She felt herself small, but very important part of the huge universe now. There were only 3 crew members on the entire ship. They were all experienced and spoke very quietly and very little with her. Alice spent almost the whole day on the upper, cold, open deck of the ship. She watched the flight of many, fast, small, sea birds going somewhere. The birds were flying towards the land that they would soon see clearly ahead. The captain called her. He showed her something very far away in the distance. He said that her very distant, mysterious island was visible straight ahead. Alice looked, but she could not see anything clearly and sharply yet. There was only a dark, thin silhouette on the very edge of the huge, wide sea. This was her first, new land after the long, tiring, difficult road journey. The island seemed dark, mysterious, and very wild and completely unwelcoming to visitors. The sun began to set, painting the sky in a bright, fiery, orange color quickly. The evening came fast. The air became noticeably, suddenly colder outside. She felt that soon a big, strong, important change would come to her. They were sailing closer. The outlines of the island became sharper and clearer now. She could see the high, jagged, black, sharp rocks of the coastline clearly. Suddenly she saw a small, bright, flashing, clear white light far away. It was it. It was the distant, old, lonely lighthouse on the high rock. The light of the lighthouse was white, strong and very constant and stable. It rotated, sending a silent greeting through the dark, cold, incoming night. Alice understood that her long, difficult journey was almost completely finished now. She felt her heart beating from the anticipation of her new, important work. The lighthouse seemed like a symbol of her future, big, very important work ahead. She took several quick, important, clear photographs of the distant coastline. She photographed the silhouette of the island against the beautiful, dark, setting sky. The captain said that they would arrive completely by tomorrow morning's dawn. He advised her to go to sleep to gather strength for the important work. Alice agreed. She needed to rest well before the very big, new, challenging work. She went down into her small cabin to lie down and sleep peacefully. Now she felt joy, despite the strong cold outside the cabin walls. Tomorrow she will start her precise, accurate, complex measurements immediately. She took out a clean, large sheet of paper from her cardboard map tube. Alice ran her finger over this white, smooth, clean, fresh sheet. Soon this sheet will be filled with new, important, accurate measurement lines. She imagined the complex shape of the new, changing coastline ahead. The girl put the sheet away. She needed to sleep soundly and deeply all night long. The ship was sailing slowly, cautiously approaching the wild, rocky land. The sound of the engine became quieter, almost like a calm, quiet whisper now. Through her sleep she heard the creak of the old, strong, reliable wooden ship structure. This creak was like an old, long, soft, slow lullaby for her. The lighthouse continued to flash, counting the last, short minutes of the journey remaining. Alice felt the ship slightly changed its course towards the small, sheltered bay. They were slowly entering a small, sheltered, quiet bay area now. The bay was surrounded by high, rocky, strong, steep cliffs all around. The cliffs protected the small vessel from the strong, open, wild sea outside. The girl woke up. She knew that they had almost completely arrived at the new location. She looked through the window. It was still very, very dark outside the small glass. But she saw the powerful, white tower of the lighthouse very, very close to her now. The tower was tall, old and very impressive and very serious looking. Its light flooded all the space around with bright, white, strong illumination. Alice got out of bed to prepare for the quick departure from the ship. She felt the cold. She needed to put on a warm, thick, heavy, protective jacket. She was eager to see her new, important, wild working place quickly. The captain quietly knocked on her simple, narrow, wooden cabin door. He said that it was time to unload her all things and her important instruments. Alice smiled. It was time for her big, new, very important work to begin. She put on her high, black, rubber, strong boots immediately. The boots were strong and perfectly suitable for the wet, slippery rocks. She took her bag and her important, paper map tube immediately. The tube with the maps was the most precious and the most important thing she owned. She looked around her small cabin one last time before leaving it forever. The ship now stood quietly, not moving at all, not even slightly. Outside the ship she heard only the noise of the sea and the distant, lonely cry of seagulls. She went up onto the deck to begin her new, wild, first working day on the island. The air on the deck was very sharp and very salty and very fresh. She saw the small, wooden jetty right next to the high cliff. The captain was waiting for her, ready to help with her heavy things immediately. Above her head hung the huge, bright, white, rotating light of the lighthouse. Alice felt a surge of incredible, new, strong power and determination. She was ready for the isolation. She was ready for the strong, constant, cold wind. Her new home awaited her. Her new map must be created accurately and quickly. She thanked the captain for his good, safe, quiet sailing. He nodded to her. He wished her good luck with her challenging, complex project. Alice stepped off the ship. Her foot stepped onto the wet, slippery, wooden jetty now. This was her first step into her long, new, completely solitary life alone. The ship will soon leave. She will remain here, completely alone and isolated. She turned her face towards the lighthouse, ready to start the hard work immediately. Her great cartographer adventure has now truly begun in the distant place. Alice stepped onto the small, wooden jetty with a feeling of deep determination now. The air was cold and sharp. The salt was strong on her quiet face. She watched the captain and the two men quickly unload her bags. They carefully placed the heavy green boxes and the metal tools onto the wet wood. The captain pointed to a long, steep, stone path leading up the cliff. This path was the only way to reach the tall, white lighthouse now. Alice thanked the kind captain again for his safe journey across the wide sea. The captain quickly returned to his small, strong ship, ready to leave the bay soon. Alice was now completely alone on the small, wooden jetty below the cliff. She watched the ship turn slowly and sail back out to the open, wild ocean. The ship became smaller and smaller until it was only a tiny, dark spot. She knew she would not see another person for many long, cold weeks ahead. She felt a deep peace. This isolation was exactly what her important work required. She put on her backpack and started walking up the steep, hard, stone path immediately. The path was long and very steep. Her legs felt the effort of the steady, upward climb quickly. She could see the base of the tall, white lighthouse tower getting closer above her. The building was much larger than the small picture had shown her before. The stone walls were thick and very ancient, showing their long history bravely. She reached the top of the path. She was standing on a flat, wide area next to the old tower. She saw a small, simple stone house attached right next to the huge lighthouse base. This small house was her new home for the important mapping project ahead. She opened the heavy wooden door and entered the cool, dark, quiet living space. The rooms were small and simple. They were clean. They smelled faintly of old paint and dry stone. She saw a simple bed, a small wooden table, and one heavy, old chair. She found a small kitchen with a simple stove and a few plates inside. She returned outside to bring her boxes and her large map tube up the high cliff. It took her 3 slow trips to carry all her equipment from the wet jetty. She placed the delicate, new instruments very carefully on the wooden table quickly. She opened her map tube and unrolled a large, smooth, white sheet of paper slowly. This was the first sheet for her careful, detailed, complex new map. She decided to explore the tall, white lighthouse tower itself before starting work. She found a small, strong, inner metal door and opened it with a rusty, old key. A narrow spiral staircase led steeply up through the very center of the stone tower. She started to climb up, going round and round towards the high, bright light. She passed many small, silent rooms filled with old, dusty, heavy machinery. She felt the strong wind howling loudly against the thick stone walls outside the tower. She finally reached the small, glass-enclosed lantern room at the very top quickly. The room was filled with huge, complex glass lenses and bright, shining metal pieces. She could see the mechanism turning very slowly, preparing for the upcoming dark night. The view from up here was incredible and very vast and completely open. She saw the wide, blue, wild ocean stretching out to the distant, curved horizon line. She looked down at the rugged, black, sharp cliffs below her position. Alice felt ready. She was ready to start her long, detailed, important mapping work now. She would take the measurements from the small, high balcony that surrounded the bright, huge light. She knew the wind would be cold. The work would be difficult. But the results would be absolutely correct and very necessary for everyone. She smiled. She was home. Her quiet, difficult adventure had now truly begun on the remote, wild cliff. She would be the lonely guardian of the map and the bright light. Alice stepped onto the small, wooden jetty with a feeling of deep determination now. The air was cold and sharp. The salt was strong on her quiet face. She watched the captain and the two men quickly unload her bags. They carefully placed the heavy green boxes and the metal tools onto the wet wood. The captain pointed to a long, steep, stone path leading up the cliff. This path was the only way to reach the tall, white lighthouse now. Alice thanked the kind captain again for his safe journey across the wide sea. The captain quickly returned to his small, strong ship, ready to leave the bay soon. Alice was now completely alone on the small, wooden jetty below the cliff. She watched the ship turn slowly and sail back out to the open, wild ocean. The ship became smaller and smaller until it was only a tiny, dark spot. She knew she would not see another person for many long, cold weeks ahead. She felt a deep peace. This isolation was exactly what her important work required. She put on her backpack and started walking up the steep, hard, stone path immediately. The path was long and very steep. Her legs felt the effort of the steady, upward climb quickly. She could see the base of the tall, white lighthouse tower getting closer above her. The building was much larger than the small picture had shown her before. The stone walls were thick and very ancient, showing their long history bravely. She reached the top of the path. She was standing on a flat, wide area next to the old tower. She saw a small, simple stone house attached right next to the huge lighthouse base. This small house was her new home for the important mapping project ahead. She opened the heavy wooden door and entered the cool, dark, quiet living space. The rooms were small and simple. They were clean. They smelled faintly of old paint and dry stone. She saw a simple bed, a small wooden table, and one heavy, old chair. She found a small kitchen with a simple stove and a few plates inside. She returned outside to bring her boxes and her large map tube up the high cliff. It took her 3 slow trips to carry all her equipment from the wet jetty. She placed the delicate, new instruments very carefully on the wooden table quickly. She opened her map tube and unrolled a large, smooth, white sheet of paper slowly. This was the first sheet for her careful, detailed, complex new map. She decided to explore the tall, white lighthouse tower itself before starting work. She found a small, strong, inner metal door and opened it with a rusty, old key. A narrow spiral staircase led steeply up through the very center of the stone tower. She started to climb up, going round and round towards the high, bright light. She passed many small, silent rooms filled with old, dusty, heavy machinery. She felt the strong wind howling loudly against the thick stone walls outside the tower. She finally reached the small, glass-enclosed lantern room at the very top quickly. The room was filled with huge, complex glass lenses and bright, shining metal pieces. She could see the mechanism turning very slowly, preparing for the upcoming dark night. The view from up here was incredible and very vast and completely open. She saw the wide, blue, wild ocean stretching out to the distant, curved horizon line. She looked down at the rugged, black, sharp cliffs below her position. Alice felt ready. She was ready to start her long, detailed, important mapping work now. She would take the measurements from the small, high balcony that surrounded the bright, huge light. She knew the wind would be cold. The work would be difficult. But the results would be absolutely correct and very necessary for everyone. She smiled. She was home. Her quiet, difficult adventure had now truly begun on the remote, wild cliff. She would be the lonely guardian of the map and the bright light. Alice felt tiredness after her long, hard-working day now. Her hands were cold after touching the wet, damp, dark rocks. She drew the first, accurate lines on her large, clean map sheet. The work was difficult. But the results were very good and completely correct always. Outside the stone house came the dark, cold evening over the wild, vast ocean. The lighthouse began its work, sending its powerful, bright beam of light out. Alice went out of the house and looked up at the tall, white tower above. The light rotated slowly, illuminating the black rocks and the stormy, restless sea. She felt a strong desire to climb to the very top of the high tower. She wanted to see the heart of the lighthouse, its complex, old, vital mechanism. She put on her thick, warm, blue wool sweater for climbing. Alice took her flashlight and key to the small, inner, metal door quickly. She opened the heavy, metal door at the base of the massive tower slowly. Inside it was dark. The air was very cold and surprisingly very quiet in the stone space. She began her slow, steady ascent up the spiral, narrow, inner staircase. The steps were made of stone. They were cold and very smooth from many years of use. Her footsteps sounded loudly in the empty, high, cold, stone space around her. She climbed higher and higher, feeling the tower slightly narrow as she went. There were small, narrow windows in the thick walls for very little light. Through them she saw distant, dark, low, dangerous waves of the sea below. Alice stopped just to rest on a narrow, stone landing for a short time. She felt the tower gently shake from the strong, constant, powerful wind outside. This wind whistled in the narrow cracks between the old, thick, strong tower stones. She continued her ascent, her heart beating calmly and very evenly inside her chest. Finally she reached the very top, round, small, highest landing. A heavy wooden door led into the central, main, lantern room above. She opened the door. She stepped into a bright, very warm, incredible, shining space. This was the lantern room. It was filled with a strong, pure, brilliant, shining light. In the center stood a huge, complex, tall, thick glass lens assembly. The lens was incredibly beautiful, like a giant, clear, complex crystal structure. It was made of many transparent, polished, small, accurate glass prisms. Behind the lens burned a bright, powerful lamp, giving off a very strong light. It was the source of all the immense power and all the bright light of the lighthouse. The rotating mechanism worked quietly, making a slight, soft, mechanical, constant, whirring sound. It was like the quiet ticking of a very large, old, precise, steady pendulum. Alice walked closer. She saw the huge gear wheels and shiny, clean, bright copper details everywhere. Everything was clean and very well, carefully oiled and maintained. The old mechanism worked perfectly and very reliably, just like a precise, expensive clock. She understood that this lighthouse was someone's past, big, important life. She felt respect for those who had maintained this strong, constant light for years. Alice approached the glass, round, wide window of the lantern room now. From this great height the sea seemed very distant and very dark and completely black. She saw only the endless, dark surface of the vast water and the long night. The beam of light passed through the lens, cutting the dense, thick darkness easily. The light swept by quickly, illuminating a section of the huge ocean for one short second. She could see white crests of waves breaking hard against the sharp, black, jagged rocks far below. All the sounds of the sea were very quiet and very distant from her position up here. Only the wind roared loudly around the thick, strong, curved glass dome. Alice felt isolation. But she also felt a deep, strong, important sense of unity with the light. She was here not simply to map the shore for her own sake. Her work was part of this huge, important, constant, essential light system. The lens rotated, and the light passed again right in front of her quiet, calm face. She felt the warmth. She felt the power of all this complex, amazing light. This was the best view that she had seen on her entire, long, difficult journey. Alice took out her notebook to quickly record her simple, clear thoughts and feelings. She wrote about the beauty of the bright light and the complex, huge, strong lens. She also wrote about the feeling of solitude, but not sorrow or sadness at all. Solitude here was a deliberate choice. It was complete and entirely willing for her project. She felt very good in this high, bright, clean, simple, light-filled place. She spent a lot of time in silence, simply observing the powerful, rotating light. The lighthouse was her guide and her only, true, constant, faithful friend. The light seemed alive. It was powerful and very devoted to its long, hard duty. It sent its help to all the distant ships sailing through the dark, black night. Alice understood the importance of her new, accurate map for these distant, dark, lonely vessels. If the shoreline changed, they would need new, precise, fresh, reliable information. Her accuracy could save someone's life from the dangerous, sharp, black, unseen rocks. She felt the seriousness of her important, quiet, very complicated mapping work now. She went to the small balcony that surrounded the very top dome structure. From there she could hear all the loud roaring of the waves hitting the rocks below. The wind was very strong. It blew with tremendous, icy, constant, strong, constant force. She quickly returned to the warm, bright, central lantern room inside the structure. It was cozy there. It was very safe and very completely peaceful and still. She sat a little longer, enjoying the quiet, peaceful, rhythmic rotation of the lens. The lens rotated smoothly. It moved without any sudden, unnecessary, rough, shaking jerks. Alice felt her tiredness slowly starting to completely fade away into the calm. This place filled her with new, peaceful energy for the entire next day of work. She understood that she would climb here every night to rest her mind deeply. The climb was difficult, but the peace at the top was worth all the hard effort. She placed her notebook on a small, clean, wooden table in the corner of the room. She looked one last time at the majestic, complex, beautiful, strong lens. The lens seemed alive. It was strong and very devoted to its long, difficult purpose. Alice turned and left the bright, warm, peaceful upper room slowly. She slowly began the descent down the steep, narrow, stone staircase to the base. It was easier for her now because she knew all the steps and turns perfectly. In her head was a bright image of the rotating, huge, bright, strong, glowing lens. This image gave her a feeling of confidence in her complex, challenging, difficult work. She went down to the very base of the tower in only a few short minutes. She closed the heavy, old, metal door behind her with the cold key. Outside was the black, cold evening and the strong, whistling, cold, fierce wind. The lighthouse continued to shine, counting her first, important, very busy working days alone. Alice wakes up to the sound of the loud, powerful wind outside her window. The small stone house is cold. The morning is dark and filled with thick, cold mist. She gets dressed in her warmest clothes, including the black rubber boots, quickly. She makes a cup of hot, strong tea and eats a small piece of bread. She feels excited. Her first day of real, challenging, important work has finally arrived. She checks her delicate, new instruments again to ensure everything is perfectly correct. She takes her theodolite and her notebook and leaves the safe, small stone house. The mist is very thick, making the huge lighthouse tower disappear above her now. The wind tries to push her back, but she walks strongly forward. She must climb down a difficult, dangerous, steep rock path to reach the shoreline. She walks slowly, testing each step before putting her full weight down firmly. She holds the old, rusted metal railing that runs along the dangerous, inner cliff. She reaches the bottom of the cliff. The water is constantly hitting the dark, sharp, black rocks loudly. The smell of the sea spray is strong and fills her entire mouth with salt. She finds a flat, stable spot that is high enough above the violent, crashing waves. She sets up her tripod and carefully mounts the delicate, precise theodolite. She levels the instrument using the small, accurate glass bubble very slowly. She wipes the cold mist from the small glass eyepiece with a soft cloth. She begins her first measurement. She sights a distant point on a far-off, small, dark island. She records the angle and the precise distance in her careful, leather-bound notebook. She measures the height of the water and the exact place where the waves finally stop. She observes the small, visible changes in the shape of the rugged, dark, rocky coastline. The work is slow. The cold is intense. But her focus is complete and unbroken by the strong wind. She writes down every number. Every degree must be perfectly right for the map to be useful later. She sees a small, strong, lone seagull sitting quietly near her on the wet rocks. The bird looks at her with large, dark, knowing, serious eyes. She smiles at the bird. The bird is the only living witness to her lonely, important, difficult work today. She spends many hours making complex observations and recording all the strange numbers. The mist begins to lift, and the sun appears weakly through the thick, gray clouds. She looks at her watch. It is time to pack up her equipment and return to the safe house. She dismantles the instrument and secures it back inside its heavy, protective, padded box. She feels the gentle, constant tiredness in her whole body now, especially her aching, cold hands. She climbs slowly back up the difficult, dangerous, steep rock path again. She reaches the top and walks quickly inside the warm, safe, stone lighthouse house again. She sits down at her small, wooden desk and immediately starts transferring the data to the large, clean map paper. She draws the first thin pencil line that represents the complex, rugged, real coastline of the island. The line is correct. The line is perfectly accurate. The initial map is finally begun. She feels a quiet pride in her work. She is finally fulfilling her mission alone on the wild, isolated cliff. She will continue this important process every day until the difficult task is perfectly completed. Alice had worked for several full days, always measuring the steep, sharp coast. The measurements were accurate. The pencil lines were clean on the map sheet. Her mind felt tired from focusing on the small numbers and the precise angles constantly. She decided to take a short, simple break from the hard, necessary work today. She would explore the small island inland and find a quiet, inner place to rest completely. She put down her tripod and her notebook and started walking away from the towering lighthouse. She walked away from the loud, crashing waves and the strong, cold, salty wind. The ground rose gently away from the rocky, dangerous cliff edge immediately. The landscape was rough at first, covered with moss and small, tough, dark grass. She climbed over several large, smooth, gray rocks scattered across the hill. The air became calmer as she walked further toward the silent center of the small island. The wind was softer here. The sound of the ocean was now only a low, distant, faint murmur. She saw a small, old, moss-covered stone wall hidden behind a huge, thick boulder. The wall looked very ancient. It was completely covered with thick vines and small green plants. She walked around the wall, her curiosity suddenly growing very strong and immediate. She found a small, broken wooden gate set deep into the old, forgotten stone wall. She pushed the gate gently. It opened with a high, soft, metallic, creaking sound instantly. She stepped through the gate and suddenly found herself inside a completely secret, quiet, small garden. It was clear that no one had tended this peaceful, inner space for many long, cold years. The garden was filled with many overgrown, tall, wild plants and bushes everywhere. There were small, twisted apple trees that grew high towards the open sky. She saw old, forgotten rose bushes that still had a few small, dried flowers remaining. The path that had once been smooth was now covered with soft, thick, green moss entirely. She found a small, clear stone bench under the branches of an old, huge, silent pear tree. Alice sat down on the cool, smooth, stone bench, feeling a deep sense of relief immediately. The silence here was different. It was not the empty silence of the cliff edge. It was the warm, full silence of nature's simple, slow, constant growth. She took a deep breath. She could smell the damp earth and the scent of the many old, wild flowers. She closed her eyes and let the quiet, gentle sunshine warm her face slowly. She allowed her mind to rest. She stopped thinking about the precise angles and the complex theodolite measurements. She focused only on the green color of the leaves and the gentle sound of the small buzzing insects. She felt the tension leave her cold shoulders and her tired, aching neck muscles completely. This simple garden was an unexpected, quiet, perfect sanctuary for her tired mind. She spent many minutes in total stillness, enjoying the deep, hidden, inner peace. She opened her eyes again. She felt renewed and ready to return to the difficult work on the rugged cliff. She knew she would need this hidden place to come and rest during the long, hard, isolated weeks ahead. She stood up from the bench and carefully walked back to the small, broken, wooden garden gate. She closed the gate gently behind her and walked back towards the tall, white lighthouse tower. The wind picked up again as she reached the rocky cliff edge. She returned to her small, stone house and quickly started to prepare her equipment for the afternoon. She looked at the detailed map sheet. The lines seemed sharper now. Her mind was clearer after the time spent in the beautiful, silent garden. She was ready to measure the most difficult, most dangerous northern point of the rugged, changing coastline. Alice spent the next morning working on the difficult, northern part of the wild coast. The rocks were slippery. The strong wind made her measurements very hard and slow. She felt the need to explore the far side of the small island completely. She packed a simple lunch and started her long, slow walk away from the tall, white lighthouse tower. She walked past the secret, quiet garden and continued into the deeper, central hills. The island was larger than she had first thought while on the ship. The hills were covered with thick, low, wild-growing bushes and many damp, green ferns. She followed a faint, old path, barely visible among the rough, uneven stones. She could see the ocean on both sides of her now, a vast, wide, blue panorama. After a long walk, she reached the western, most distant, quiet edge of the landmass. This area was sheltered from the main, constant, northern wind. The air here was still and much warmer and very gentle. She saw a small, simple, stone shelter built right into the side of a large, flat rock. A thin line of light, gray, wood smoke rose slowly from a small, stone chimney. Alice stopped. She was completely surprised to see smoke, realizing she was not completely alone. She walked slowly towards the small, stone structure, her heart beating a little faster. She saw an old, bearded man sitting quietly on a low, wooden stool outside the simple, small door. He was wearing old, simple, dark, heavy clothes and a thick wool hat. He was slowly mending a large, strong, worn-out fishing net with simple tools. He looked up at Alice. He did not seem surprised to see a new, young visitor at all. His eyes were blue and deep, like the calm, peaceful ocean on a sunny day. He nodded to her once, a slow, gentle, welcoming motion of his large head. Alice approached him and stopped a few steps away from his stool and his tools. She spoke quietly. She told him her name and said she was mapping the shifting coast. He listened to her simple words and continued working on his fishing net steadily. He spoke finally. His voice was low and gravelly, like the sound of small, smooth stones moving. He told her his name was simply Elias, the old lighthouse keeper's assistant many years ago. He said he had lived on this quiet island for more than 40 long, peaceful years. He knew every rock and every small, wild plant on the whole island. Alice asked him about the coastal changes that he had observed over all the years. Elias pointed with a long, dark, weathered finger to the rough, northern shoreline. He said the sea takes the land away in the harsh winter storms every year. But the sea also brings new sand back in the late, calm summer months. He confirmed that her new map was very necessary and very important for all sailors. He offered her a cup of warm, simple, herb tea from a battered, old tin kettle. Alice accepted the tea and sat down on a smooth, flat, sun-warmed rock nearby. They sat in silence for a long time, sipping the warm tea and watching the distant, blue ocean. The silence with Elias was not lonely. It was shared, full of quiet understanding and old wisdom. Alice finished her tea. She stood up to thank Elias for his kindness and his simple, useful information. She knew she had to return to the tall, white lighthouse before the dark, coming evening. Elias nodded again. He told her to be careful of the very strong, high, fast tides on the rocky, northern shore. Alice promised to be careful. She walked back up the old, narrow, overgrown path with a new, quiet, peaceful feeling in her heart. She was not alone anymore. The island had a silent, wise guardian who knew all its secrets.